the Happy Hour Podcast with your host, Joel Fleischman.
Hello, welcome to Joel Fleischman's Happy Hour Podcast, episode number 47. Welcome, everybody.
Good afternoon.
Jerry Joseph from Midway Windows.
Midway Windows, Alliance brand products.
Marshall Nash, window leader, Drexel Building Supply.
And I'm Joel, and Jerry wouldn't know this, but Marshall does. It's called the Happy Hour Podcast, so we always break it off with a beer. So we are sponsored by Central Waters Brewery in Amherst, Wisconsin. And Jason and all those in Central Waters, I do apologize. We do not have one Central Waters Brewery cold. Send more beer, Jason. I think you just sent us 3 cases, and somebody liked them a lot because they don't seem to exist in the break room anymore. So Jason, send more beer. So let's, anything that you like. I have a Busch Light. I have a IPA, which looks green, and a Snow Pilot Pistachio Nut Brown Ale. You're our biggest guest here. Which one would you prefer?
Something along the pale ale version, so it sounds like it'd be that.
Yep, this is the Anti-Hero IPA, an American Hop Assault. We'll give that one a shot.
That's a winner.
Yeah, if you hate it, just act like you like it.
No, we're just don't.
Yeah, I'm just kidding. Up to you. I don't care. I'll take
want
the Busch
some.
Light.
He's flexible.
Yeah.
That's what we're
I'm
looking
into this
for.
Yeah.
pistachio. Okay, cheers.
We're looking for flexibility.
Cheers, everybody. Thanks for coming on.
Cheers and
cheers.
happy 2022.
I hope so. The national vaccine mandate was just blocked.
It was
an
blocked
hour before we went live here.
Blocked today.
Awesome.
Big deal in the Drexel world. We had a lawsuit going against it, and they won. I feel for the healthcare workers that choose not to get it now are mandated to, but it's a step. For the first time, I feel in 2 years, a step in the right direction. So, America,
Yep.
hope, freedom,
Freedom.
bravery.
Freedom and liberty.
All right, this pistachio nut brown ale is absolutely delightful. Great winter beer. It's got a little bit of the nut. I would drink this all night.
Well, there's a quick commercial.
Probably not as good as Central Waters beer.
But
Yeah.
if that's what's available.
Yeah. Am I gonna just like Busch Light drink 30? No, but should I drink 30 anyway? Probably not. So yeah, that's a good beer. Yourself, what
You
you
can
think?
make it work. Perfect. Works for me.
Are you just selling that, or is that
No, this is the kind of beer I like to drink.
okay? Pretty hoppy. It's pretty hoppy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And your Busch Light.
It's
Busch Latte?
it's beautiful. Yeah.
Busch Light is
Yeah.
Busch Light.
Yeah.
So talking windows today primarily.
Perfect subject.
As I called Jerry when he walked in, a legend in our industry in windows, and he truly is.
Woo!
At least in Drexel world, I'm guessing a little bit in the Midwest. Do you want to,
Midwest.
2-3 minutes or less, give us a little bit about yourself? I could probably do the same, but
We'll go way back to the start. Originally meaning born in Cincinnati, Ohio, and lived in a variety of cities in the Midwest, but lived in Chicago now for the past 40 years. So I consider myself a Chicagoan, and had the opportunity to be in building materials for
try
most.
not to hold that against you.
Both, I understand. I've crossed the border. I was a little surprised you let me in,
More ways than one.
but you always like Illinois cash up
Yeah,
here.
yeah. Make a good one.
You like the cash. Been in building materials from a career standpoint. Most of my career in either a lot of that was involved with in roles of sales management and or on a couple of different occasions, including with Midway. Ultimately, had the opportunity to be the president of the company. Been with Midway for the last 13 years. Midway is a very strong regional vinyl window manufacturer that sells all its products through distribution. And we've had the pleasure of being aligned with a partnership with Drexel. Originally a relationship with Drexel, starting back in probably around 2000, a very small relationship, around 2007, 2008, somewhere around there.
Yeah. Drexel has been Drexel Campbellsport Building Supply, the first window line I believe Alliance is the only window line continually we've ever had. I believe.
Oh, is it really? I didn't know that.
I mean, I got out of school about Marshall's age in '96, and I was trading on Alliance windows.
Oh, wow. I knew we did a little bit.
Yeah, well, and it was a little bit because in new construction, you know, vinyl windows weren't a thing. You know,
Yeah,
and
that's
it
true.
was
In that era, it
unbelievable.
was
just
wood,
wasn't a
wood,
thing.
wood.
Yeah, and we had, of course, some remodelers, and of course, we were very
Yeah.
small. So in that, and again, you said we did a little bit. Well, we were just a little company selling to a few builders and not a new construction. So that ended up being, to us, a lot.
A lot.
But yeah, it may have been 20, 30 windows. A month might have been a big order because, you know, a remodel job might take 3 vinyl windows.
Yes.
So it was
Yeah.
very rare and I never had a new nailing flange on it. It was a new construction. It was popping in 2 or 3 windows. So, I mean, a 15 unit window order was a big deal. You got a better discount. It was 10 plus windows, right? Back at that.
Yeah. Well, we've had a present. Midway started at 64. I should fill in the blanks here a little bit. Midway Windows, privately held, family owned. A lot of similarities to the story here with this company. Second generation. Second and third generation is involved. Second generation is mostly retired. Third generation is in the business. Sell product throughout the Midwest. Full line of vinyl products in the way of replacement and new construction, with a lot of options.
You're the president, not the owner.
I am president, not the owner.
The ownership group is who?
It's owned by the Strauss family.
And
They started the
multiple
company.
companies?
This company started in '64 as a very small storm door, storm window company on the south side of Chicago, which a number of window companies started that way.
Sure, of course.
And transitioned from when the second generation, the son of the founder, joined the company he joined them in the mid '70s. Company starts in '64. He joins them in the mid '70s, and around the mid '80s, he convinced his dad that storm doors wasn't the future, and they had the opportunity to get into vinyl windows, and they made that decision to take on vinyl windows and become primarily a vinyl window manufacturer.
Seems like a smart idea looking back.
Right now, it's
Yeah.
an astute strategic move
Right.
on their part, the family's part, and so started started a relationship of making vinyl windows with Certainty under the Certainty brand. Certainty at that time.
We had Certainty.
There you go.
Yeah, we did.
Certainty was in the window business, along with obviously lots of other categories of building materials.
And I have a feeling we bought Certainty through Midway. I could be
Well, it would have
wrong.
been. Well, you would have bought. Yes, you could have. Yes,
Early 90s?
Early 90s. Yeah.
That would have been us, yeah.
Okay,
So we probably made the conversion with you, I have a feeling.
that's what it would have happened then, I guess. I didn't realize the relationship went back that long between the two companies, and so what happened is by 2000, our owner, and I'll make this short, our owner became a little disgruntled with the direction of the Certainty window program.
Which they
Certainty,
no longer make.
which they no longer made, right.
So you got
Certainty
another-
sold their product. Certainty didn't manufacture any windows. They set up a network of about 45 manufacturers around the country that made the Certainty window under the Certainty specifications, and then helped them market it under the Certainty brand, strong brand.
Right.
Sold it
sure.
under the
Well,
Certainty.
smart idea.
Yeah, smart idea, actually. Our owner became a little, like I said, disgruntled, dissatisfied with the overall strategic direction under Certainty, the big company, billion-dollar company.
Would you give him a smart again? Maybe he saw right in the wall and they're either going to dump this line.
He said, I can sort of quote unquote do
Right.
this better on
Right.
my own. Our owner, teamed up with 5 other Certainty fabricators and said, why don't we all leave together? We'll have more strength, 6 of us at one time, going into the marketplace, aligning themselves with all the appropriate suppliers that they needed, vinyl and glass and spacer and hardware. And that's what they did. And when they spun loose, it was in 2000, and formed what's called the American Window Alliance,
Oh, because you were Alliance of Certainty Dealers.
Bingo.
Alliance. I had no idea.
a former Certainty manufacturer.
Does that still exist?
It does. The
How
alliance
many
is
manufacturers
the
are there?
alliance is still in
Just
play.
still a 5, or is there?
No, there's some have left because they
Oh.
didn't make it,
Okay, sure.
financially over that long period, 20 years.
Yeah.
Some have come on board. So right now there's a total of 7.
All in the Midwest or around the country?
All east of the Rockies, or east of the Mississippi, really, not even the Rockies, east of the Mississippi. And that's how the Alliance brand started, the American Window Alliance, and that's how the Alliance brand of products started, and it's in play today, obviously.
I don't know that answer, but it appears to me that is how many vinyl window manufacturers operate. For instance, we do carry Lindsay line as well.
Lindsay belongs to.
It seems very similar to the Alliance, where it's
They are.
where it's hey, we're Lindsay, but we're not the company. We're not paying the bills to is Lindsay, but they're part of a what do you call it? Manufacturing network.
We
Alliance.
call it an alliance.
Family.
There's no
Yeah.
financial connection between our
But
companies.
you have agreed to share specs.
We agree to share specs. We make a lot of the same products. We use the same, and not 100%, but we mostly use the same manufacturers. And what it does from a purchasing standpoint, it gives us a little bit of muscle because we go to the market representing 7 companies as opposed to 1 company.
So many industries would call that a co-op, right? Agricultural co-op. A lumberyard has had a network called co-ops. I mean, loosely like.
Loosely, we're not in the true sense of the word. A co-op
Not in a
is
true sense, but in a dumbed down version.
a dumbed down version of a co-op.
Is that fair?
Yeah, it is. Yeah.
Great.
And so our footprint is the Midwest. You know, we go east to Ohio, we go west out to Iowa, and over the years have developed and distinguished ourselves, even though there's a heck of a lot of companies that make a white vinyl window, a white single hung. We've been able to distinguish ourselves, number one, of being able to produce products that ship them complete and ship them on time until this virus came along. There's been a couple of hiccups, but before that,
No way.
yeah, there's a news flash.
Is that gone?
Yeah, is that a gong?
I've never.
There it is. There's
You gotta get it off the hook there.
Yeah. You keep talking. We'll
I thought I'd come today to drop that news that there's supply chain problems.
supply chain problems.
There we go.
Well, it goes along with
It's better than shotgunning a beer every time we say supply
it
chain
goes
problems.
it goes along with the news from the Supreme Court today. That also I came here that drove up today to tell you about supply chain problems.
For sure. Do it again. Do it. Luke would shotgun a beer.
I would, yeah.
He's a
Sure.
shotgun.
One
He's a shot in the beer guy.
Keep a tally.
And our formula has worked very well of being able to do that consistently and ultimately supply you a product as to simplify that you don't have a lot of problems with on the back end.
Yeah. No. Very well said. Is from a customer of yours and a strong customer that would
Very
align
strong.
yourself with you guys is. I think vinyl windows, to some degree, there's a lot of white vinyl
Yeah.
windows. And we can sit and debate fuzzy. I will say you on the outside is fuzzy weather strip, right, on a 20 below day.
Yeah,
So what differentiates vinyl window brands, and honestly a lot of it is consistency of the product.
that's exactly right.
So not only on time and in full, but also the quality, comes from
Quality.
the consistency of it.
Yeah.
Right? Almost anybody can make a good vinyl window 6 times. Can they do it 60 out of 60 times?
That's
Can they do it
exactly
in a
right.
complete house? Can they do it? And Alliance has been through decades of proof of thousands of orders, literally through Drexel.
Yeah, just through Drexel.
Just for us, that ratio is great. In fact, they've actually built a brand name recognition.
Yeah, we have.
I said you opened too many dealers. We won't debate that today.
That's for next week's podcast.
Yeah.
That's a tease for everybody to come back. I want to hear that one myself.
Yeah.
I'm like, what? Wait, like now everybody's got Alliance?
Everybody's
Had
got
you
Alliance.
since you were 17? It was like, no, not everybody. I'm like, yes, everyone. has
Everybody.
Alliance. Which is what we deal with, but that's okay. They don't have the marshals, right? That's what
They don't have they don't have the marshals, but we have been able to do that, as well as we've been able to team that product reputation with a very, very strong, if you talk to your employees that communicate
Team
with
members.
team members that communicate with us, either via the phone or emails or in person, we get very high marks on how strong of support team that we have, whether it be on.
Yes.
He's a salesman, so I gotta watch it.
Yeah,
You gotta
no,
be careful.
that's
a
as
little
true
bit,
as it
but
gets right there.
I'm standing in front of your guy.
Yeah.
Or sitting in front of him. Strong support team in the way of whether it be sales
Yep.
representation or whether it be customer service, somebody picks up the
Yep.
phone, or whether it be our truck driver. We have our own drivers and the
Yep.
courtesy that you get from them. So we call it the Midway experience. It's proved to be a very positive connection
All right,
between
Joe,
us and our partners.
This is my podcast.
So there's
It's
the
been-
commercial.
It's been,
Yeah.
15 minutes of the Alliance commercial. Got hijacked. I got to take back over my own podcast here.
Let's get to the let's
Jerry
get.
can roll. Like, that's why I brought him up.
Well,
I brought him up.
Yeah.
He pulled the string in the back. And he didn't interrupt, so I said, "Why would I
Yeah,
stop?"
just
He
keep
had
going.
100 miles to get jacked up, and he came.
That's right.
Yeah.
He made roll.
Yeah,
Oh
yeah.
yeah, I came on a run.
I love it.
Dead
I love
run.
It. It's great. It's great. So thank you. Again, I know you're a busy guy, so I appreciate
So that
it.
paints the picture.
No, it's perfect. So Marshall, almost the opposite side of the coin.
Yes.
Who's Marshall Nash? What does he do? Where do you come from?
Yeah. Marshall Nash. Went to school at La Crosse. Graduated with a sports management degree.
How'd that work out?
I'll tell you, I worked at Schneider for 3 months. I didn't like making 100 phone calls a day, so I called David Van Dries.
Yeah. How did you know David? Baseball?
No, one of his best friend growing up was my roommate all through college.
Okay, right. And DVD
So-
is just the contagious guy. Once you meet him, you don't
Yep,
meet him, right?
that's it. That's
That's
it. You
it.
got that
Shout out,
relationship
Dave.
from there. Yeah, DVD.
Love you, brother.
Yeah, so started talking to him. He was moving into millwork. He said, "Well, you could take my old spot in decking and exteriors." I said, "Well, I don't know anything about
What the hell
that."
is that?
Yeah, I couldn't tell you anything about it. Came in, interviewed with Steve Larson a couple times, ended up getting the job. Worked in exteriors for about a year, maybe a little more. Noticed the need that we had in Wrightstown for windows. Went to approach Steve Larson and said, "Hey, I'll go into that." And then kind of just a lot of it was self-taught teaching and calling into Midway a lot, honestly. Yeah. If the phone rang more than 2 times, I thought the place was burning down. Because I pick up the phone, dial, somebody be on the phone. It was unbelievable. And it's still that way today. And, you get to that second or third ring and you're thinking, okay, something's wrong. Yeah, because they're that quick to answer over there. And that's where the knowledge came from, is constant questions.
Yeah.
Is you don't just learn it by yourself. It takes the people around you. It takes reading, all of that. So it's been quite the ride. I'm glad I'm here today. I'm only 25 years old.
And you're now the window leader. How many people do you work with? Do you help lead in the window department?
12.
12 across how many locations?
7.
7 locations. That's congratulations.
Mhm.
And basically, and how many millions do we sell in windows a year? I knew
I
you
haven't,
would know
I
that.
haven't,
was like,
I
oh,
haven't
no.
even looked at that.
Right.
Haven't even looked
How
at
about
that.
Wrightstown?
Wrightstown, I know that out of Wrightstown we did 3.5 last year in windows.
Right, so 3.5 times 7 would be 21 million.
Mm-hmm.
Camel Sport's double your size.
Right.
So we did approximately 35 to 40 million in windows last year.
Yeah.
Uh,
Make me sweat thinking about that number.
That's good. That's a lot of trucks and windows. That's a
Yeah.
lot of rectangles.
Yeah.
A lot of knowledge base. A lot of thankful customers.
Right.
But yeah, that's a lot. That's a lot.
Mm-hmm.
And for how much we bought out of Midway last year.
Do I know?
Yeah,
I do.
yeah. You can say it. It's fine.
Is that right?
Yeah, I think she's hearing.
I'm gonna grab the sheet.
Oh,
'cause
here
I
we
brought-
go.
I
Right
brought
down
the
to
thing.
the
Yeah. Here we go.
I said Jerry's a legend. Like, this guy's gonna come. I knew he was coming with numbers.
I know my numbers
Yeah.
because I'm gonna give you exact. I knew ballpark. Is
That's
that all right? total purchases last year from us were 7.1 million.
7.1 million. So again, significant part. Obviously, we have some markup on there.
Yeah.
Yes, customers, we do mark up your product.
There is.
Sorry, builders, there's a markup there for that. But 35 million for 7 million. So you're a big part of the pie.
Yes.
I know what Jerry's thinking. I need more of the pie.
Yeah, that's
Right.
Yeah, I thought. Yeah.
Yeah, he's like, come on now.
I
Yeah.
said, well,
He's like, come on now.
where's the fairness
He's like,
here?
where's the love?
Where's the love?
Yeah.
Where's the justice in
I
life?
thought we
I
were
know.
the dude.
So,
But don't forget, for those watching and listening, we have wood windows as well. And to some degrees, that's apples and oranges. Taking an average size house, I'll give that to Marshall. Average size house of Alliance windows is how much? On a 3-bedroom ranch, 17 windows in it.
Yeah, you can get it 12 to 15, maybe 20 max.
1,000?
Yeah.
Right. On a wood window line would be how much?
Oh,
yeah.
25. That same house, maybe
Yeah.
25 to 30.
Right. So again, we're talking significantly different. We're not going to get into that at the podcast, but it is almost apples and oranges.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm not saying the quality's less because there's just differences.
Right.
The look on the interior, the look on the exterior, the architectural differences.
You bought. Think about this number. You like numbers, I know. That volume in dollars. You bought just over 31,000 units. How's that?
We like that, don't
That's
we?
fun.
You like that, don't
It's
you?
just mind-boggling. I can't.
It is. Think about 31,000 units. Think about
Right.
us delivering and you unloading and reselling it. Or not reselling, but getting off the truck, storing it, putting it back. 31,000 units is
Well,
an amazing number for
then
the
you-
number of locations.
Then
that
you
you
go,
have.
if you have 1% of the problems, there's 310 units
That's right.
that were
310.
horribly made.
That are made, yeah.
And it's not awesome when you're at the job site and you're that builder or that homeowner and the holes in the unit and those 310 are bad. We look at numbers saying 1% is more than acceptable. Not for those 310 people.
Not to this person.
And there's only
That's how we look at it. It's not to that person, it's 100%.
and there's only about 200 working days in the year, 250 I think, right? 250 working days.
240, 250.
240, 250, right? So you're literally having one problem a day. One problem a day. So you actually have to anticipate it as a leader.
Yeah.
Think about it that way. As a leader, you actually have to say, and I went through this. I was probably 40 when I had this realization. I wrote a book somewhere, which is warranted to talk about. I was getting "Are you the owner?" phone calls, right? And they're the most heartbreaking calls.
Yeah.
And I always want to be like, "Oh, I can find you the owner? I want to be the owner." Right? But no, it's like, can I help you? And I'm so sorry this happened to you and so many problems. But then at that point, I think we were probably a $150 million company. How many calls should an owner of a $150 million company, right, when an average transaction is around $800, expect to get? It's quite a few. So then if you just break that down, if we expect to get that many when they come, you know what? You're like, yeah, this is a part of my job. This is what we do. This is how we help. Instead of saying, oh my gosh, now if that spikes up and the 300 units goes to
Yeah.
3,000,
Then we got issues.
then I know I have issues. But if I know what to expect for problems, and you have to know what you expect for problems. You know it's not a perfect world. You don't take so much anxiety at home at night, and maybe you can have blacker hair than Jerry, maybe you can have more hair than me. Would be the goal, right? Would be the goal.
Yeah.
It's stuff I wish I would have known when I was 25. So before we get the big elephant in the room is window problem. Before we get to that, I think that's warranted.
Sure.
You've been doing this a long time. President of a company. Are we one of your 10 largest customers?
Absolutely.
Right. So they do a lot of volume. How many people do you have? I like to do that in Midway.
Total
Yeah.
employees, we're up to about 365.
Right. Drexel we have about 675. But still a ton of people.
Right.
A ton of people. You have 12.
Mm-hmm.
So if you could you give them any, what would be something that you would tell Marshall in the window industry that you wish you would have known at 25, or something that he should say, hey, parting thoughts, hey buddy, this is what I learned, this is what I could impact on you.
Oh, there's an interesting question.
So I got a beard.
Yeah. We're getting philosophical here. So, we want to jumpstart or fast forward his learning curve by of what he what will help accelerate his
Well, if you
moving down the
you're
road.
just
in
looking at him and
windows.
saying, and if he was your son,
Yeah,
or if he was you at 25, I wish I would have known.
would have known.
I wish I would have told somebody would have told me, not necessarily specific in the window industry,
Right.
but this industry is quite similar. What do you wish you would have taught him?
Okay. One of the reasons I'll answer that question with a I'm gonna lead into it with one of the reasons I stayed in this industry, the building material, in the broad sense of the word building material industry, for all the years that I did, is I thoroughly enjoy the people in the industry. All the people you met, from the builder to the contractor to the distributor to manufacturers and reps and everybody in the industry. I really liked them, and I really liked them. Enjoyed working with them and with the industry with them, is because they tended to have the same ethics and value system that I have, and they just tend to be wholesome, genuine people, and I really like that because that's how I view myself and who I want to be and who I am. And so we all started out, to me, working in a similar way because we had the similar values and principles of what we wanted to do.
And I'm going to interject. We forget, probably all of us in the room, not all of us have worked outside that industry. That's not like that everywhere.
No, that's why I said I like it. That's why I stayed in it.
Dentists, lawyers, accountants. I forget that every single day. But damn, we have a cool industry.
You agree?
We aren't progressive.
No.
We got a bunch of issues.
No.
We aren't, but damn, I met so many good people, so many honest people, so many hardworking people. And by hardworking, I mean so many
Work ethic.
live for it. I live for this business. I'm not trying to out scheme you. I'm
Right.
trying to help you.
Right.
Like, we're trying to build a good. Ultimately, today, we're trying to build a better house.
Right.
We get lost in that shuffle sometimes. Keep going. I'm sorry. I just wanted to interject.
So,
I totally
but you
agree.
concur.
Like, absolutely. Right.
If you sort of stereotype
Yeah.
the community of the building material people, that's how I would describe them. And because of that, when I got in it, and I was about your age when I got into the industry, a little bit about your age. I suddenly became aware of that and said, this is where I want to stay. Now, forget the company I was with. I'd worked for a number of different companies, but still was always in the industry, and I just really, really, really enjoyed it, and because of that. And so with that being said, and with that sort of basis of understanding of who you're working with and or who you're competing with, I think as long as you're genuine and just the relationship between our companies, everything since I've been involved, it's always total openness about if we got challenges or issues, or whether we got mutual partnerships, mutual goals, but it was always totally open communication. And but I think that whole being just genuine and straightforward, and what everybody expects in this industry, which I don't think is hard to do, but some people struggle with it, and that is just as simple as it sounds, but it's hard for a lot of people. Just simply do what you say you're going to do.
Mm-hmm.
Just live up to your verbal commitments to people or companies.
Which also, I'll add one thing to that, and be responsive. And
Yeah.
I have three: organized, responsive, and live up to your commitments. Which is really organized, responsive is living up to your
Is
commitments.
living up to your commitments.
It's the same thing.
Yeah.
You're saying that right.
And so, and it'll all work for you. And I'm talking about work for you, meaning enjoying what you do, developing friendships. And I have friendships with competitors, but that's okay. They're competitors. We're all in the same community, though.
I don't.
No.
Kind of ruthless. So. I'm more Bill Belichick. I don't think Bill's calling anybody.
Well,
Tips and
if
tricks.
you were more Bill Belichick, This wouldn't last more than 3 minutes, this podcast.
that's
Bill would,
fair.
Bill would cut it off.
Bill would find a reason to make it work.
He'd mumble a couple times and move
We're a
and
little
say,
bit more open than
and
that.
say, I gotta go, but set that aside. But I think you'll enjoy success if you just follow those simple sort of, if you want to say, principles, and not sort of be concerned about trying to, as some are, but not many in this industry, trying to fast forward their careers, but not following that path of ethics and morality and principles.
Good stuff. That's really good. I'll add to that. Okay, I'll add a revise. Bill Belichick, more like Nick Saban, because Nick Saban would have a podcast, but he'd control it, which I kind of
He would just control it.
which I kind of do. So more
You
Saban,
kind of do that,
more
but it's Saban's. Yeah, now
More
Saban's,
Saban's.
right,
Yeah.
right.
Saban's gonna say, yeah, I'm a college kid. I can do a podcast.
Yeah.
So maybe more podcast. Yeah, that was just really good stuff. Thank you. I appreciate it.
Well, thank you.
And I do think what has changed in our industry, Jerry, correct me if I'm wrong, from the 90s, the number one thing, or for sure the 1, 2, or 3, well, one of the top things was not always responsiveness or professionalism. It was simply product knowledge is what everyone demanded
Yeah.
and had to have.
Had to have.
And a lot of our veteran quarterbacks, if you're watching or listening, still think that and believe that. That really has changed because product knowledge is so readily available.
Yeah.
It's so readily available and it's so instantaneous. And our industry has gotten way more complicated, but that also means we have way more specialists. In our Drexel world, we have so many great specialists and so easily connected if we just use the connections. But also in the industry, again, you can make a phone call. That when I placed orders with Midway and Alliance in the 90s via fax,
Right. Sure.
not aging myself at all, there really wasn't a person at Alliance at that time that could answer questions.
No.
They were customer service. And
No.
that you were on your own island. There wasn't a Google, there wasn't an internet, it was like tribal knowledge, right? That's the term. It really was tribal knowledge. You sit around a campfire, i.e. 3 bush lights. That time was probably Miller Lite. You sit around High Life after work and you might get some tribal knowledge. You listen in on Tim Lindsley, shout out to Tim, my dad's conversations.
Your dad, yeah.
They didn't intentionally train you, you just
Yeah.
sat at your counter, at your desk and typing or whatever, writing up an order.
Osmosis.
Osmosis, tribal.
Yeah.
So it was really, product knowledge was really an anchor. That isn't the case anymore. It really is. It's still there. You can't be a moron.
Right.
But there is, Jerry, would you agree that the responsiveness is overtaken, or professionalism is overtaken product knowledge?
Yeah, because it's, like you said, it's there's so many ways you can get it today and not be dependent on a sales rep walking in the door and say, let me hold your hand here and walk over to the
Yeah, because
corner.
whatever he knew is the only thing that you knew. It's
Right.
whatever I told the builder is the only
Right.
thing the builder knew. So if I didn't know, he didn't know, thus the client looks like we're an idiot, and we are going to get outsold by the competition. The next builder that walks in says, let me show you my vinyl window. Well, I asked the other guy, and he said he didn't know. That just simply doesn't happen anymore, even if you're new, because you can. And the homeowners, somewhat, it has changed. I've read some things about that. If you think about it, it went from a product recognition. Okay, Craftsman tools made by Sears.
Yeah, Sears, yeah.
Right, everybody wanted Craftsman. You guys may know what I'm talking about. Craftsman
Strong
tools,
brand in the day.
product brand. 2022, it's company brand. You buy from Target, you
Yeah.
buy from Amazon.
Yeah.
I trust Costco.
I trust
And
Lowe's.
through Kirkland, I don't walk into Costco demanding a Craftsman tool. And lumber, and we have to understand our relationship with vendors has changed thus as well.
Mm-hmm.
And I think you would concur to that. They don't come in looking for Anderson windows per se. They come in saying, what do you recommend?
What
And
do you recommend,
especially
right.
on the builder level.
Yeah.
And for builders and the quarterbacks that are still confused by that, clients are not coming in asking for Pella. I just talked to hi Doug Berg. Hey, there's a lot of Pella being sold in the Madison market. I can't seem to compete. I said, why? What do you do to sell against it? And he didn't have a good answer. I said, that's the problem. Because you think they're buying Pella for multiple reasons. That's just what they know.
Mm-hmm.
That's just what they know. Yeah, me and Jerry are like, oh my God, are you really kidding? That's just what they know. And he's thinking they're buying Pella. No, they're buying the rep and what they've always known. and the homeowner doesn't know. I call it the water softener conversation. You're going to do a house, you have a plumber, you're like, what do you use for a water softener? Maybe. And whatever he says, whatever comes out of his mouth, again, if it's Kohler, that sounds cool. I'm like, am I overpaying for that? But whatever he says, I'm like, I've never had a problem with it. Hey, I researched Kohler's got the #1 water softener in the country. I would prefer that. He's going to say I use Culligan. I've never had a problem in 20 years. If I get you Kohler, I won't.
I will. Yeah.
It's probably going to cost you more.
Yeah.
I'm going to go, no, use Culligan.
I use Culligan.
Windows have changed so much. I used to be able to stand at the counter when I was 25 and sell a customer on a brand. You might still be able to do that. End of the day, they're just going to trust you.
Mm-hmm.
Or I should say it the opposite way. Customers used to come in asking for a brand.
Right.
Now they're asking for you and what do you recommend? And they just go with that. Not so much at the lumber or dealer level, lumberyard level, Drexel level, but the builder. They're trusting the builders. I use Alliance. I don't have any problems. What about Company X? I don't use them. We could, maybe, but I don't think I'm going to back it, though. Right, lifetime warranty, Energy Star rated, it's all good. Yep, perfect. Black on black. Yep. Speaking of black on black, let's move on to conversation.
Yes.
So probably one of the biggest reasons you hear, maybe the reason you hear, maybe not. We have a lead time issue, a supply chain crisis.
Yep.
COVID.
Yeah.
If you haven't heard, there's a thing called COVID.
And
And supply chain is everywhere.
Yep.
But for one of the highest ones, it's in our window world, which is unheard of.
Unheard of.
Because Alliance Windows is 2 to 3 weeks.
2 weeks.
Yeah,
Boom.
2 weeks.
Don't miss it.
And I'll pick a random time, which is probably not too. 2012 in October, they went to 4 weeks because some super crisis, 3% increase, and they got triple their orders, and they had a fire in the back 40, and a truck driver broke down, and it went to 4 weeks, and I would call Jerry Joseph every name in the book,
right.
and I would say, Jerry, what are we going to do? I'm going to kill you for 4 weeks, I'm going to switch brands, you bastard, what are you doing to the industry? You're the worst. And Jerry would say, I know, we're working day and night, we're going to get this back in 2 months. I said, 2 months, I'm going to kill you.
That's a quote.
Come on.
That's a quote.
That kind of was a thing, right? Like it was so consistent for decades.
Right.
If it spiked up at all, everyone lost their minds. You guys were working triple hours.
Yep.
So we did that forever. That's all Jerry and I know for decades, and our builders.
Yep.
And now it's actually, okay, well, it is what it is. So currently, 2 weeks, 2 weeks, 2 weeks. If I were Alliance today, Midway Alliance today, what's our lead time today?
14 to 16 weeks.
Yeah.
14 to 16 weeks. Pella's saying 8. If you listen to this, they aren't 8 weeks out. Don't let that guy lie to you. Don't let him lie to you because you're not going to be on time and in full. And in Windows, if you get 10 out of the 16, you really still got 0.
Right. Yeah.
I mean, that's just the fact. Like 10 out of 16, I got 0. I can't put 10 in. Yeah, it's not helping me at all. I mean, for the construction process, if you don't understand that. And that's for everything, or is black on black longer?
Well, black on black is going to be longer. That there
16 will hit you on black on black, but yeah.
Yeah, the laminate material is harder to come by.
That's exactly right.
So my brain has a hard time for 14 to 16 weeks. So if I order today, when do I get it? What's the date?
Oh, the date? April?
April, yeah.
Right. So one thing to teach your team is never give clients weeks. Everybody watching, listening, never give a client weeks. Because weeks means nothing. Don't give them range of weeks.
Yeah.
If I go to a Friday night fish fry in our area and they say, I can seat you in 30 to 60 minutes, Marshall, what did I hear?
60.
No,
Well, you must be a nice dude.
Yeah.
What did you hear, Luke? 30, but I'm probably checking with the host at about 15.
About 20, yeah.
About 20, I'm checking my clock. Well, honey, I think we can squeeze in one old fashioned, but she said 30 to 60.
Yeah.
Table just got up, I should be good.
I must not have liked that fish fry.
You're praying, right? The hostess is hoping 60. So the host might be actually saying 60 to 75, but I'm kind of a weak host, honestly. And I'm going to say 30 to 60 because I already can see the disappointment on your face.
I'm going to soften it.
I'm thinking, again, it's all about expectations.
Setting expectations.
Expectations, and what did you use before? I've given him that advice, not responsibility, but responsiveness.
Responsive.
Right, right. It's part of the conversation. So if I think 20 and you think 75, we got a freaking problem.
We got issues.
And guess what? Guess how much pissed off that host is going to be pissed at my customers. I tell them all 30 to 60 minutes, and every one of them bastards comes up to me in 20 minutes over and over again and says, is my table ready? I told you 30 to 60 minutes. What didn't they hear, right? They're in the kitchen doing that. We do that every freaking day. I'm sorry, builders, we do. That guy called me for the third time. I don't know when it's coming in either, but I told him it was going to be April. No, you told him 14 to 16 weeks. I'm going, hey, well, it's February 1st, 14 weeks, 2 months, mid-March, maybe April 1st at the latest. I'm calling home, April 1st at the latest. That's what I heard. You're like, dude, April 1st, I haven't got my acknowledgement back yet. Like, dude, it's probably May 1st, more realistic. Mm-hmm. So by March 15th, I'm lining up the job. I'm calling you March 25th. I'm ready to go with my crew, and you're saying, no, that's going to be at least a month. Whose fault is it, Marshall?
That's us.
That's on us. So I would always give a person a date, because a date is a date. But I'll say the date. I would expect it no later than April 15th if you order it today. But if you call me next week, it's no longer April 15th. No different than a Friday night fish fry. Hey, I'm just popping in the shower. My wife's getting ready. How long is your Friday night fish fry? Oh, it's about 30 minutes. Great. I get there and it's an hour and a half. That's not on the host. You came an hour later. You called at 4. It's now 6. So again, these lead times are 2 days.
Mm-hmm. Right.
So how did we get there, Jerry? This is like the last question we can ask. We're running out of time.
Run out of time already?
No, it's unbelievable how podcasts go.
There must be phase 2 to this.
Yeah, right. Hold on, I got a million things to say.
I got more wisdom.
We can maybe have you on, but you got to.
You can call me on the ride home.
I need
We
to spread
both got a nice
to
ride.
spread the wisdom here.
Yeah, Jerry's going to start his own podcast. Like, that was so quick.
That was so quick.
So
Boy, it is quick.
It does go quick. So how did we get there? How do we come out of this? Globally, not globally, of every industry. Windows specific, your company specific,
right.
And then industry specific, right?
Here's how we got where we are today. Here's how we got here. And certainly it all, like it does in most situations in the world of supply chain issues, it started with COVID. And what happened in March of 20? COVID started? Yeah.
2 years ago. Right?
Yeah, 2 years ago. 20. So March of 20. When March of 20 hit and the government came out, the president came out, we were closing down for a couple of weeks and we'll get through this. Anyway.
And then we were deemed essential. I actually thought we were like...
We were essential.
I just thought we were going to be closed. I'm like, we're done.
Yeah, the good news
I don't know what we're going to do with our product because we won't be open. I'm like, I'll be sneaking it out the back door, but we were essential.
The good news is we were essential, deemed essential, and we concur with that. We are essential.
Yeah.
Anyway, what happened is a couple dynamics happened that resulted in where we are today. And a couple of dynamics that specifically in the window industry happened is, and probably happened in other parts of the building material industry, but I'm the window guy, and that is some of our manufacturers, I don't mean this critically, just how they chose to deal, how they chose what happened, how they chose to deal with what happened when that announcement came out in March, is some of them chose to lay off part of their workforce.
Well, if I can just help that, just so it doesn't sound bad, we went to 32-hour work weeks.
Or
I didn't take pay for 3 or 4 months.
Yeah.
Because you did not.
No
one thought what we should have been doing is hiring, not laying off or reducing hours. But no one. I mean, who would have thought we go into a national, global pandemic?
Yeah.
And the economy in some factors, like building industry, would actually soar.
Right.
Like no one predicted.
No one predicted.
So you're just trying to survive. We're going to shrink.
Right. We're going to try to survive.
I was thinking we're going to ship our orders and have no orders. Like who the hell is going to want somebody with COVID potentially in your house putting a window in?
Duh. Well, there was this confluence of events that happened that were unpredictable. And so companies either laid off people, some of them laid off a significant percentage of their workforce.
We forget that.
Anticipating that they're going over the edge here shortly. Others maybe eliminated a shift, or they cut back hours from 40 to whatever it was. Mm-hmm. And so, in our case, we chose to do nothing, and that is we kept our workforce as is. Cut back hours to sort of a normal 40-hour week. We usually work more than that, but we chose to keep it and see what was going to happen. So the fast forward, that was mid-March. By the time 30 days later, by mid-April, end of April, all of a sudden, more orders start coming in.
A lot.
Yeah. And then by mid-May, It's now, it is just, went from 0 to 60 overnight, 60 days later. Well, you had these companies, our suppliers, who were going, "Now, where are we going? Let's call the troops back." Well, they called them back, and they said either we ain't coming back because of coronavirus, we're not coming back because we got all kind of reasons.
I got a new job.
I was going to say,
or I'm just going to stay home.
I'm going to stay home. Government checks. I found a different source for employment.
Yeah.
And so right then, orders are accelerating. Companies can't manufacture at the pace they were. The old, as they say, a recipe for a disaster. And then it just kept accelerating the pace of orders, obviously, as you know, because you're sending them to us. And but what you did have was extremely low mortgage rates. You had money totally available at low rates for new construction. Access to money for loans if you want to do a remodel job. You had people staying at home because that's where they were working from, and all of a sudden they woke up and said, wait a minute, me and my wife are at home now working, plus I got kids at home schooling, or not homeschooling, but on the internet, trying to, virtual, thank you. This house isn't built for this, wasn't designed for this, and now all of a sudden the remodeling market as well.
Yeah, both. Yeah.
Both. All of a sudden they're adding additions, they're doing this or that.
Cash wasn't spent, so cash came into people's pockets because they still had jobs,
correct,
which we didn't anticipate. Cash is coming in, they're not traveling. So
they're not traveling.
So it all kind of snowballed into that. So that got us there, and for the people that, like, I love using the restaurant analogies that just people think, I think in restaurants, and I think everyone goes to restaurants. So what really happened was, Friday night fish fry, and a busload of bachelors came in and said, hey, we need 35 fish fries. So you went from a 30-hour wait to a 2-hour wait.
Yep.
And then you stay, so what people don't understand in restaurants, you stay at a 2-hour wait until what? People don't come in.
People leave.
So that stays 2 hours forever, unless you do what? People leave, which in housing would mean the industry shrinks. It's the only way to get the tables back, or it stays there. You don't get from 14 to 2, or they remodel.
Right.
They put more tables on. They say, hey, that conference room we usually use for wedding halls, get that son of a bitch bachelor party in there, and you guys are going to, do you mind sitting near the kitchen? We don't usually put a table, but I can seat you immediately here, right? Or they kind of change their process. I'm only doing deep fried French fries right now to get you the hell out of here. So one of those three things I think in the window industry have to happen. Now, I hope I'm wrong. I don't know. I want to know the future. Let's go to the future.
Yeah.
Right? So in my opinion, the future looks like these companies either going to have to grow, third shift, right? All of them, do over the robots and manufacturing and figure it out more, or we're going to have the great reset, I'm calling it. We're going to have to shrink to get back to normal lead times. Right. Tell me there's a better solution to those three, because I almost don't like any of those three. Because the first two take capital money and years, not weeks and months. Like that's like okay. So Midway says I'm going to double, the manufacturers are going to triple. That's planning. That's capital investment. That's not great. The third one, obviously, the Great Reset. I don't want that either.
So real quick, for us personally, or specifically for Midway, we don't have a labor problem. We never cut back, so we've been fortunate, and our workforce is fine. We're able to hire more. We have space.
You run 3 shifts?
No.
One?
That's I don't know.
1.5.
Yeah, about 1.5 is what we run. I don't. It'll take too long on the podcast to get into that detail, but yes, we ordered. In anticipation of just growth in general, we actually have 2 production lines we didn't use last year because we don't have material.
Right.
So we don't have, we got equipment, we have buildings, we just bought another building that last year. Our whole issue is strictly based on being able to get our suppliers to supply us material complete and on time.
Raw material product.
Raw material.
And which raw materials? All of them, or specifically?
Well,
it changes by the day.
It changes.
It changes.
So like right now, literally, Cardinal Glass,
Yeah,
who's
of
out of
course.
Wisconsin.
Cardinal Glass, I would say 95% of the windows that I know are made come through
Use Cardinal Glass. Great
Correct.
supplier.
Yep.
Terrific
Right.
supplier. They went on allocation last year.
Right.
Our spacer, Duralight, which is a warm edge spacer, just recently went on allocation.
Right.
So,
Allocation, for those that don't know, you only get a certain amount
Right.
of percentage. We're going to give you 50. Well, I need 75. The most I give you is 50.
most of them will say, based on your previous sales,
Yeah,
we'll
right.
give you sort of basically what you bought last year, but not more.
Right, and that
Yeah.
doesn't work when the industry just screw 20%.
And when the industry grew, well, wait a minute, it doesn't help, right? This, somehow,
Yeah, right,
this
right.
isn't all coming together. So, I don't, to fast forward though, in the way of the balance of the year, sitting here right now, unless demand dramatically slows up,
It's the great reset of the one of the
Great
three.
Reset, one of the three. And as I was driving up today, I was listening to a particular newscast, and a guy was talking about new construction, or talking about mortgages, and said from last year to this year, mortgages are up about one from the high 2s to the high 3s. That automatically knocks out a certain percentage of people because now they can't afford the house.
Right.
But still, as you know, there's pent-up demand. There's in the way of new construction. There's a shortage of houses in general in the United States.
And we need to build about 1.5.
5.
And we only
Yeah.
built like 1, 1, 2, 1, 3.
2,
We built 1.6.
right.
We pushed it last year, 1.6.
Pushed it.
Would you see what happened when we built 1.6?
Yeah,
But we have to build
the
1.5.
industry wasn't built ready for
Right,
it.
right.
And
Still isn't.
It still isn't. And so the balance of this year, I don't see our suppliers, it's not been detrimental to them or negatively towards their performance levels. I don't see them correcting or fixing their ability to supply us material on a consistent basis on time. And on time, I don't mean back to shipping us in a week or 2 or 3. I mean just when we get the truck, that what they said was going to be on it is on it, and that's the challenge.
Mhm.
We order 100 units
So
of whatever.
Let's
and
take Jerry off the podcast. That's not what we wanted to hear.
Well, you wanted.
No, I'm kidding.
I know you are.
So as an industry, we, based on that feedback, and there was the 3 options, right? And again, not every company is just gonna get in robots and spend $100 million and buy a building. And even if they all did, it would still take years to come up
Right.
with that.
Correct.
So the only way we get back is a great reset. So what we need to do is now be organized on the builder's behalf and re-educate their builders.
Right.
And we are. We've never ever been this busy taking orders of windows and
Right.
all of our products right now. I couldn't figure it out. For a week or 2. I'm like, what is going on?
What's going on?
Think. Spring started a month ago.
Yep.
Right? We
Yeah.
take spring orders and we
Spring
get-
orders. Yeah,
we
we're in
really-
spring already.
Yes.
That's why I don't think it's going to
we,
get better.
no,
Yep.
we get super big. Well, because the guys our builders, thank you, are getting smarter, and our quarterbacks, our salesmen, we call quarterbacks, are getting smarter. If you're going to dig for a spring start, we're
Yeah.
ordering it today because of
Hey.
April.
Yeah.
Mhm.
And we've went with our bank. And again, if you're not working with Drexel, please do. If you work with Drexel, thank you. But we went because I think we're uniquely doing this, and maybe some guys are. We went to our bank, we looked at our yards, and we said, bring in the product.
Yeah.
Hold the product.
Oh, it's sit on it.
Hold it, sit on it.
Yeah.
Make sure it comes in when it's going to be. So
Right.
if it is 10 out of 16, the builder doesn't know that we back ordered it. It's a pain for us, but it's way easier than taking all 10 and waiting for the 6.
Yep.
So order them early. It's like Chicago.
Early and often.
Just like Chicago voting.
How we vote. We vote early, we vote often.
But it's the same thing. Like, please order it early and please order it complete.
Yeah.
But then it's done, and we are seeing that. Like these orders, our big rush right now is because we're ordering into spring.
Right.
But we're going to have to take that all the way through the construction cycle, which is a little bit. We always almost talk about off-site construction, which we're huge into, Jerry. Which is simply we have 2 manufacturing plants that build that bad term panelization, modulation,
Yeah.
off-site
Yeah.
construction, and we put those windows in those walls.
Yep.
And we can do that so well with off-site construction to be organized on that builder's
Yeah.
behalf, because then it's coming out done. We're not on site saying that sash isn't quite right. That's handled at the manufacturing process, not when it's 5 degrees in real time and it needs to go right now. So
And we're
huge thing.
We're very familiar with that panelization because that was a customer of ours.
Yeah, Blinker.
Yeah,
for sure.
Blinker,
Yeah.
yeah,
Hi,
yeah.
Jason. Yeah, and
Hi,
we are
Jason.
actually working on stocking programs, because what we want to actually do is get ahead of the game, stock the windows. You can't stock every line, but can you stock 20 and saying, if you design your home this way,
Some standard sizes.
yeah,
Yeah.
20, 30 sizes, design your, but again, that's going to take 6, 9, 8, 12 months, right, from the design to the end game. And then you guys can bank on our orders of standard sizes and say, I can make 40 of these now, one off, one, because you're more profitable if you do 40 than one, right? Make 40 girls better than a custom job.
Custom job, right. Custom job just slows up manufacturing.
Yeah, you make one of,
One
two
of,
of.
right.
If I can tell you, hey, make 50 of and send them to Amherst, you're like, that's a better price,
Yeah.
right?
And
If
he
you say it's
even,
not a better price, and say, no, it's a better price.
Right.
and he even mentioned
But that
before
would-
laminates, you talk about lead times.
Yeah.
Laminates weren't, for a while, weren't even available to us.
Right.
We can't even get them.
Right.
You get into resin issues and all that, so, but it's, right now,
It's not getting better.
it is not getting better.
There's no, right now, there's no silver lining.
There's
no sun in the sunset. So again.
The silver
listen
lining
to
for
watch this.
you is you're partners with Alliance. That's your silver lining. That's my commercial. Did he say that? And the other silver
It's been
lining.
hijacked. The whole thing's been hijacked.
The other
Substantiate
silver,
that.
the other
So
silver,
I'm gonna drill that down, right? So why you guys, like, you're 14 weeks out, they're 14 weeks out, blah, blah, blah. So why substantiate, why is that an advantage to work with you?
well, the advantage is,
In
the
regards
advantage
to
to work
lead
with
time.
us is, well, the lead time is the lead time,
Right.
and that is, we're not,
Well,
from my knowledge, all of us
So I'll
are.
take away, why, again, I'll give you one last chance here to sell it one more time. Why is it an advantage to work with you?
The advantage to work with us is the same reason why it was 20 years ago. And that is you're dealing with a company that knows how, where we work mutually with you, where it's in our, both companies' best interest to understand, to sell, and to make it profitable for both companies selling more windows. And we're just really, really good at what we do.
All right, that's good.
It's beautiful.
All right, we're gonna get to the bill, now we're getting to the billboard.
And before we do that, real
He's
quick,
killing me here.
I am,
It's
'cause I
hijacked.
brought a
The whole thing's
question.
been hijacked.
that's right.
He brought a question.
I brought a question. I
We'll see how it
know,
goes.
and you didn't do your
You're not
homework.
like a podcast guy.
What percent?
That's not how this shit works.
What percent of of all the units that were sold window units,
Yeah.
not dollars,
Right.
window units that were
Units.
sold last year?
Right.
I don't actually, I don't have last year yet. Let's go back a year, so it'd be
Oh.
2020. What percent of those units were vinyl?
From
Of
our
a
company.
vinyl product.
Our company.
In the country.
Oh, in the country.
All the windows that were sold in the U.S. last year, what percent of those units are a vinyl window?
See, it's really high, I think, because of environmental conditions. Don't forget, sometimes it's very important to have a window manufacturer, I believe, that is somewhat centrally based or understands the Midwest or the upper
Yeah.
Midwest.
Because we
Because
make a
we're-
window for this weather. conditions.
Yeah.
Right.
I mean, Milgard came in from California.
Right, yeah.
Really kicked her ass for, at least in the Milwaukee and Madison
Yeah.
market, for 5 to 10 years.
5 years, yeah.
5 years, and really kicked her ass.
Yeah,
Did a
they-
wonderful job.
yeah, they did.
Great market
Yeah.
share. But the window wasn't designed for the
For this
And it didn't hold
Midwest.
up, and it's
It
closed.
gets
That
cold
fuzzy
here.
weather strip comes in the winter.
Right, yeah.
So, to answer your question, I'd say 84%.
84.
What do you think? What were you going to go with before I said that? I should let you go first. I wouldn't have changed my answer.
I was gonna say 60.
All right, cool.
Well, it's split down the middle, 72.
72. You
All
won.
right,
You're a little
we're
closer.
close.
Yeah. So wood windows.
What was it 10 years ago?
It would have been, 10 years ago would have been low, about 10 points less, like low
Yeah.
62, 63.
Yeah. And in Wisconsin, 20 years ago,
Oh, wood.
90, 10, 95, 5.
So
And
wood.
now in Wisconsin,
Oh,
I mean,
yeah.
what you order in Wrightstown is what? Wood to vinyl.
Mm,
Majority vinyl.
he's
80,
almost all.
85?
Yeah, you're almost all vinyl there, aren't
80,
you?
Yeah, I would say 75, 80.
7 out of 10
Yeah.
homes, 8 out of 10 homes.
Yeah.
Unbelievable.
It is.
Complete
The shift
change.
is incredible.
The shift is incredible. Again, if I had a vinyl window home, it was like, I don't know what I'm doing. I don't know why you're doing that. Like, it was just a very unicorn thing. For you guys, putting nail flange on, I'm sure it was very unicorn. Like,
Right.
it's different. All right, so final question.
All right.
You got a big, fancy, giant billboard. A ton of people can see it. You can put one thing on it. Anything you want.
Anything
Anything you want.
Anything you want.
What does
to
it
learn.
say and why? I'll give Marshall's dying to say this. I can just tell.
Oh
He's
yeah,
like, you're
yeah.
ready to go.
Yeah, I've got
So I gotta
something
give-
intelligent.
I gotta give Marshall something.
Yeah,
Give
it's
Marshall the
intelligent
platform.
here. Yeah, no, mine would say, what is your why? And that just comes from, I listen to Eric Thomas a lot.
E.T.
Yeah, that's my
I
guy.
love that guy. You like that guy?
Yeah.
Oh,
Yeah.
E.T.
Yep.
What's he up to
Yeah.
these days? Still just talking to college kids being crazy?
Yeah, I think so, yeah. So, I mean, when I first heard that from him, when I first heard that from him, it kind of hit me different than most other things that I listen to or hear. And it's not that you're doing it for yourself. You know, you never, your why is never that you're doing it for yourself. If you really dig deep and think about what you're doing and why you're doing it, you're not doing it for you. And if you are doing it for you, it's not the best work that you can do.
E.T. would say, it's got to be bigger than that.
Right.
That's not you.
Right.
That's not you. It's
Right.
got to be
It's
bigger.
got to be bigger.
Right? And he's a
It's
sports
gotta
guy.
be
So he's
bigger.
like, if you do
Yeah.
it, you know, he's talking to the kids in Texas
Yeah.
A&M. He's like, it's got to be bigger than you.
Yeah.
What
Yeah.
you doing it for? Your
Yeah.
mama?
Yeah.
Your papa? What are you trying to do, right? Your community? Your
Exactly.
team? It's got to be bigger.
Yeah.
So what's your why?
My why?
I love it. It's good. I love it.
My
He's
why?
figuring it out. Yeah. It's okay if you're 25 and figuring it out.
Yeah, no, I'm still trying to
That's
figure
really
it out.
fine.
I'm still trying to figure it out, but my why thus far has been, recently engaged, so my fiance and building a future for ourselves.
What's her name?
Olivia.
Hi, Olivia. Shout
Hi,
out.
Olivia.
Love you too.
Yeah, so that's my why, is just growing a future for ourselves, and just being the best that we can in our communities. She's a teacher, Bayview Middle School, math teacher.
Yep.
Yeah, so that's what my why is. Big family guy, so that's what pushes me every day.
Pretty cool guy, huh, Jerry?
I'll say we're.
Yeah.
Well, see, there's that. But there's that. Back to the building material industry. That's the kind of.
This guy.
See,
Get
I'm
him off.
gonna
Yeah.
connect the
Back
loop.
to Alliance Windows. We have a wonderful window. Go ahead.
And-
no, it's okay. Keep going. So what were you going to say?
Do you have drafty windows? Are your curtains blowing?
Oh, boy. Yeah, no, go ahead. Finish your thought. I'm sorry. I lost them.
Well, I was gonna
That's
say,
the billboard.
Complete the. I'm doing picture essays, completing the loop. If that's the kind of foundation within this industry of people with community and family and flag waving, that's what the heck I like about the industry.
Right.
That's what I enjoy of interacting with people who have the same values and the same kind of work ethic that I do.
And I think that's why it's so important Drexel has a why. You know, our why is to supply happiness. And it's just something that we truly, every one of us believes in. It's not our company motto. It's not what we put in our t-shirts. That's our why. It's to supply happiness, which is to our builders, to our trusted suppliers, right? To our end user clients, to the people that work here, and to our community. My why, and I just read this and I liked it, like, this isn't my home. I'm just here recruiting people to go to heaven. So, you know, I always got to give a shout out to God. So my why is I'm just trying to take people with me to heaven. So if I get there with a bunch of people, I'm going to be real happy when I die. I'll have a big smile on my face.
That'll be a
I
good
like
trip.
that.
That would be a good trip. So that's my why, which is even bigger than my family.
Mm-hmm.
And I love my family to death. But it's even bigger than that, my why is. So when that why becomes your why, spirituality-wise, man, your life becomes a lot of fun.
Mm-hmm.
So a lot of the other stuff that bogs you down just don't matter anymore.
Yeah,
I only got one why.
it's not
Mhm.
That's
relevant.
it. E.T. would say the same thing, by the way.
Yeah, you would.
I'm starting to talk like him now.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah, you start
Look
thinking
at that
about it.
hat, look at that hat,
Oh,
that
yeah.
sweaty shirt.
Yeah.
When he publicly speaks, the sweat pours out. He's just
Yeah.
so contagious, so fired up. Love that dude. Actually, I had him follow because he was just so much. Like he's just like I already.
Yeah,
looked
a
up
little
Jack,
over the top, yeah.
Him, David Goggins, Jocko. Like I was following all that stuff, and then I started like breathing fire, and I'm like, I'm killing people here. Like,
killing
I don't know what
people.
it is.
That's right.
Chill out, chill out.
I need a
I
downshift
need
here.
some,
Yeah.
I need some like Zen guys. Like I go the other way.
Yeah.
I wake up with fire, so it's all good. And yours, Jerry. Go ahead.
Well, I did get that memo, so I came prepared. And so my billboard would say, humor is the best RX or prescription, RX,
Yeah, yeah.
for a healthy life. ... Keep smiling. It is infectious.
Go ahead, expand. I like it.
I
So,
like that a lot.
RX, infectious.
Yeah.
did you get the COVID
Yeah,
tie-in?
yeah,
Infectious,
yeah.
contagious. Did you
Yeah.
see how I
That was
blended
good.
that?
That was good. So where you going?
If
True
I have to
maestro.
If I have to explain it, it's not good.
Yeah, no,
That was
it's
good. Like, in your words, what does that mean to you, or why is that?
Well,
Why do you go
I
along?
find, without getting too philosophical here,
Oh,
but
please
I
do.
think our society today, and I don't know when it started, not all that long ago, but particularly in our society today, is just too confrontational. It's a zero-sum game. I'm right, which means you must be wrong. There is no middle ground in how we deal with each other today, and in the big picture, and how the U.S. society. I'm talking about the U.S., which I don't like any of that. It's not how I like to approach interaction with people and live my life. But I've always enjoyed humor. There's something about laughter that just makes you feel good.
Mm-hmm.
And particularly, I enjoy making others laugh. Because life is just sunshine and lollipops and rainbows when you're laughing and exchanging a couple barbs with each other, but yet it's all in good taste, and it's all just to make each other laugh and feel good.
Say that, read it one more time. So it was a little, I want to soak it in for everybody.
My billboard?
Yeah.
I said humor is the best RX, meaning prescription, for a healthy life, ... Keep smiling, it is infectious.
Yeah, and I do think the saying, smile at the world and smile says back.
Smiles
If
back.
you just try that for one day, and I do, and I forget, but if you smile at people,
Right, it disarms them.
they can't help but
Right.
smile
They
back.
can't help
it
it,
was
kid.
it was one of the things, and obviously still going on, that pains me so much. Language is 80% body language. It so pains me up with these damn cloth masks that have proven now
Yeah.
not to work, and now
Don't work.
today boys and girls can give 20,000 N95s away in Madison, and they ain't gonna work either. But I can't see your
Can't
face.
see your face,
When I
right.
smile at you, and I did in my mask, I tried hard. I go, I don't know. I got nothing. It's dehumanizing people and say, Joel, no, we're trying to save COVID. It's not. Yes, it is. It's dehumanizing.
Yeah.
And I would rather die than have the whole country dehumanized. Because there is no humor with mask on. There's no belly laugh.
It sort of neutralizes expression.
It does, which neutralizes a belly laugh. I mean,
Yeah.
belly laugh is absolute therapy. It's
The old knee slapper.
Yeah, I read somewhere, if you take around like a 5-year-old or less, they laugh like 100 times a day. Something like that. I think that's what the data said. And adults laugh 10. The saddest thing. What happened? But I think we get our guard up, we get busyness, we get a stress overtake us, and we don't have good laughs at good moments. We had good laughs here today, though, guys.
We did.
Yeah, we
I did.
So
We did.
I appreciate you driving all the way up. Time is not
Yeah,
our
thank
friend,
you.
so we are out of time.
Truly, thoroughly enjoyed
Love you,
it.
man. Love you.
Thoroughly
Love you
enjoyed
for
it. And thank you
decades.
for the
Thank you very
partnership.
much.
Thank you.
Thank you, buddy, for coming on. Always
Good to meet you.
Thanks for
love
coming.
you,
Thanks
Mark.
for
Good
meeting
luck,
you for a
man.
minute.
Okay.
You can be rocking. Oh, boy, he's going to tell you. So
Yeah.
So nice. This podcast is brought to you by Alliance Windows, if you haven't. All right, thank you. Peace out. Pod 47 over.
Thank you all for your time.